Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Number 1.
Junior likes them private parts.
Oh, hell no.
Cut my own out years back. I did.
I didn't want to know that. Man, what the fuck? First off, how do you even... Man, I mean, wouldn't it render that useless? I mean, how do you use the bat? Okay, yeah, alright.
Number 1.
What's the story with this mystery girl, Sarah? And...
Number 2.
Is this the origin of Leatherface's mask in this movie? I don't know if you noticed or not, but this film holds the title for having Leatherface fully unmasked for the first time in franchise history. It's only for a few frames. A blink and you miss it moment. But I'll take the liberty of showing you right here. There he is. Old leather dick. But there's a story behind where Leatherface gets his mask in this film. And it starts with Sarah. Now Sarah is one of the most overlooked characters in this film, because she's sprinkled throughout the runtime, but for the most part she's just kind of forgot about. But her story plays a pretty big role in this film. I'll let Sarah tell the story in her own words.
They got us a week ago. I'm the only one left. We just stopped to help this guy. We thought he'd been run over.
So Sarah and Gina was out driving when an unidentified man pulled the whole road stint. And I'm guessing that man was Tex, pulling the same routine he used on Benny, Michelle, and Ryan when they crashed. That's his role in the family operation, to lure the victims. Because his first attempt failed.
You know, if you are headed to Houston, the road over there is the quickest way. This new road here is a hell of a lot quicker.
So Tex and Alfredo had to improvise.
Holy fuck, he dusted him! What happened? Take the Cowboys route.
Everybody in the Sawyer household has a job. Alfredo runs the gas station funnel. Tinker handles the tech and the toys. Leatherface does the heavy lifting. And Tex is the bait. He also likes nailing people to chairs, which Sarah also has the scars for. That story tells itself, but nonetheless, she survived it. Somehow, some way she got away. And she's been hiding out in the woods ever since.
Day before yesterday, I had to eat a fucking rat raw.
But her sister Gina wasn't so lucky. The cold open of this movie actually ties into the rest of the film. And it's pretty horrific that Sarah was a hero. She saved Benny from certain death. And in the end, the last thing she ever saw was her dear sister Face running a chainsaw through her gut. Man, what a way to go. And I will say, I think that's a lost art that's been forgotten about in most Texas Chainsaw movies. Is Leatherface having multiple masks to choose from and kind of having a personality switch with them. What mask did he have before this? The first time we see him, he's barefaced on screen. Does he have more packed away somewhere? We don't see any mask in his workshop shed. We don't see any in the house. It would have been cool to see. At least they did give us an origin story for this mask. Not that it's needed, but it's pretty nice to have sometimes.
Number 3.
Does Leatherface have a kid now? And
Number 4.
is she not his only kid? Hear me out. Let's jump right into the deep end because this film explores something that no other film does. Leatherdick possibly being a father. This movie is wildly decisive in terms on who's the father of this little girl. That's literally her credited name, by the way. Some say it's Tex, some say it's Leatherface, and others swear that there's no way, shape, or form that Leatherface can be a father. They just won't have it. I'm partial to believing that this is Leatherface's child, and also not his first. Let me explain why. Meet little girl, commonly known as Baby Sawyer. Even at an early age, she's a little bit wacko. Hell, the first time we see her, she surprises Michelle with a prison shank she made out of bone. That's pretty hardcore. Damn prison rules, you know? The film never directly comes out and tells us that Leatherface and Baby Sawyer are father and daughter, but it's heavily implied. For one, Tex says this.
Let Junior play, son. He does make the sweetest damn babies, you know.
One can only assume he's talking about the little girl. Then Mama chimes in and claims that he loves those private parts.
Junior likes them private parts. We knows what to do with them parts.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh raggy. Disgust. So it seems like Junior here likes rearranging guts in more ways than one. And you know, that's not the kind of dialogue you just throw in by accident. That's the family flat out saying that Junior's been productive, if you know what I mean. But even if we just talk about the actual relationship on screen between Baby Sawyer and Leatherface, the evidence is pretty outstanding, because the film gives us visual clues as well. She draws Leatherface on the fridge, along with a skull and her shank. Not only is this a background detail, but then the film gives us a very specific shot of this. The camera lingers here because they want you to see it. And let's watch how Leatherface interacts with Baby Sawyer throughout the film. Despite basically being a big kid himself, he has this genuine fatherly vibe towards her. He nods at her, saying, hey, go listen to mama. He kisses her before dinner. They even work as a team when things go south. Oh, and by the way, who would have thought that Leatherdick could drive? This film was pretty funny when taken out of context. So early in the film, they're going for this really horror ambience, this serious vibe. But if you just turn the TV on and you saw this shot right here, of Leatherface in the truck just jamming to rock music, that's pretty funny in my opinion. So I think the implication of Baby Sawyer and Leatherface being father and daughter is pretty overwhelming. But now let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. I don't think Baby Sawyer here is Leatherface's first child. I think that Sally is. No, not that Sally, this Sally.
This is Sally.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Take in mind, if you missed it for whatever reason, Sally is not a doll. She is the skeletal remains of an infant that she treats like a sister. Matter of fact, throughout this entire film, she is never seen without Sally. Despite her having a bedroom full of bones, she picks Sally to play with. Mama Sawyer even gives Sally special care, and so does Tex.
Hold Sally.
Okay.
So my theory is that Sally is the first daughter, a child that died at birth, or shortly thereafter. And in true Sawyer family tradition, they kept the corpse. Because that's just what this family does. They don't bury motherfuckers. They bury everybody except for family. Grandpa's basically a mummy and they still feed him blood. That's one thing about the Sawyers, they're loyal. They don't let go of family dead or alive. They don't give a fuck. So the little girl carrying around her dead sibling as a doll is pretty consistent with everything that we know about the Sawyers and how they operate. Which means Leatherface didn't just have this one kid. And who knows if there's more. Later in this video, I'm going to talk about the time frame and how long they've been there. Because they've been here for quite some time. But maybe it's just two. Maybe one made it and maybe one didn't make it. I can see dead bodies. I don't like seeing dead babies, you know. And you know what's crazy? There was a point in this film where I started to feel bad for Leatherface. He's such a big kid in a man's body. A certified mama's boy. Like the way he acts taking his lessons. The way he acts with mama. That little boy, hey mama, you know, this asshole over here just wrecked my tape. Now I'm sad. And I genuinely felt bad for Leatherface. I was like, damn. And then I remembered, oh yeah, he assaults women. Never mind. I don't mind this film, but I don't need that aspect. It's probably just there for shock value, you know? You can show me dead bodies and eating people, whatever. I don't need to see dead babies and Leatherface just, you know, rearranging guts, not with his chainsaw. Like, I don't need that. But what do you think? Is Leatherface out here slinging the sausage? Not the kind of sausage you eat. And having offspring dead and alive? You decide.
Number 5.
So there's a slaughterhouse nearby? Let's talk about that. Short one here, and it's not really that important, but it piqued my interest. Tex tells Michelle that Alfredo lost his job at the old slaughterhouse.
He's a little touch. Been that way ever since he lost his job over the old slaughterhouse. Sort of the town loony, you might say.
Now let's forget about Alfredo for a second. So there's a slaughterhouse out here? If you know Texas Chainsaw Massacre, then slaughterhouse and them go hand in hand. It's a staple of this franchise. It's an origin story. Every single version of this family eventually ties back to some kind of slaughterhouse. In the original film, you had the hitchhiker work there, the cook worked there, the grandpa worked there, before all the new technology put them out of work. You know, grandpa was the best there ever was. I feel like this is yet another huge piece of the story that we're missing in this film. Later in the video, I'm also going to deep dive into Alfredo. I'm talking about deep dive. But for now, why did Alfredo lose that job? Was he fired? Was it a him problem? Did the slaughterhouse shut down? Was he being a peeping Tom again? Is it closed, abandoned? Because an abandoned slaughterhouse sitting in Sawyer territory, I mean, that's just prime real estate for them. Kill floors, drains, meat hooks, cold storage, industrial equipment built for this. Everything they're doing in the kitchen, they can do on a mass scale in a slaughterhouse. So you're telling me they're not using it? And I know that sounds a lot like the remake timeline, but that's something they should have explored in this film. We all know how much this family loves slaughterhouses. They've always been in meat, you know? And all we got was a one sentence mention? Come on now. They was patrolling them woods and roads for miles on end. They had to have that slaughterhouse in use for something. Number 6. Rapid fire round. Oops, wrong movie.
Oh my God! It's coming from behind us!
Yeah, no shit. Texas Road. No name, nothing. Hey, this is just a Texas road. Wait, where the hell did Alfredo's body go? It should be here.
Substance called adipose, you idiot.
How are you gonna make fun of this guy saying it wrong, and then you say it wrong? It's adipocere.
Stupid.
Did you know Alice Cooper reused this house for one of his music videos? It's called House on Fire. Check it out. Kane Hodder as Stunt Leatherface. Did you ever notice that this armadillo and this coyote wear the same earrings as Tink does? That's kinda weird.
Number 7.
How did Benny never encounter the Sawyers before this? Was they not worried about him? And
Number 8.
what happened to his survivalist friends? The campgrounds. Did they ever come looking for him? Now we get to talk about Benny, my favorite character in this film. He tells us he's been going on that road for every single weekend for the last 2 years.
I've been going up in the hills every weekend for 2 years. I never even seen another car on that road.
We do the math here. That is over 100 trips down that road through Sawyer territory.
You some kind of soldier or what?
Just on the weekends.
Now let me tell you why this puzzles me. If Tex lures victims into this family all across that deserted road, that's an operation. Alfredo funnels them from the gas station. Tex plays bait on the pavement, and Leatherface hunts down the loose ends. We watched it happen with Michelle and Ryan. Another example is Sarah, with her and her sister Gina. So this road Benny travels on every single weekend for the last 2 years is hunting ground. We also see that Leatherface and Tex patrol these woods and roads for miles on end. They know every inch of that territory.
They watch the road. They hunt people.
So explain to me how there's an entire campsite sitting down the road with armed men doing military drills every single weekend for 2 years, fully loaded, and I know damn well they're letting off rounds. Block, block. Apocalypse.
I got a survival camp with a few buddies of mine. Training for the big blow up, you know what I mean?
And the family never bothered with them? Never scoped them out? Get it? Scope them. Never mind. If these boys are patrolling the roads and woods for miles on end, they had to know the campsite was there. There's no way you didn't. That's happening right in your backyard. You got dudes with guns. But hell, maybe that's why they did stay away. Because the Sawyers aren't mindless. They're predators. Maybe they picked the easy meals. Lost couples in broken down cars. Drunk kids. Hitchhikers. Dumbass teenagers. You know how it goes. I'm guessing they didn't want to step outside of that box and take that challenge on. But the only mistake was the night the Tex jumped out in front of Benny and flagged down the wrong car that maybe they spent 2 years avoiding. Because look how that turned out for him. Benny turned that family dinner into Swiss cheese.
Say hello to my little friend!
But now to my follow-up question. What happened to Benny's friends? He was on the way to meet them. They was expecting him. He never showed up. If it was me, I'd probably go looking for my friend. I think this is the biggest missed opportunity in this film not to include them. Hear me out on this one. It would have been badass. Think about it. Benny and Michelle is already outnumbered. Benny could have been like, hey, you know what? I got some friends that can help us out. Let's go up the road a little bit. And then you get this badass cat and mouse game in the woods. Have you ever seen Rambo? It's just like that. These trained soldiers versus the Sawyers, who know this land better than anybody. And then you throw Leatherface into that mix. It would have been beautiful. The Sawyers were already setting traps in the woods for escaping prey. We see a few examples throughout the film. And when the soldiers got there, they could have set their own traps. Tell me that wouldn't have been a hell of a fight scene. I just really feel like Benny and his friends should have been fleshed out more into the story. Because I don't mind this story. I know I said this a lot. But to me, the story feels incomplete. This would have been a way to fix that.
Number 9.
Are the investigators Vietnam War vets? And
Number 10.
How aware were the Sawyers that law enforcement was pretty hot on their trail? You can't have a Texas Chainsaw Massacre without a little bit of Vietnam in there. Let's go back to the body pits in the opening. There's a detail inside that flies right over people's heads. Listen to the line this investigator says.
It's like those body pits we found up near Dong Tree.
Camp Dong Tree was a CIDG outpost in Phu Yen province, where U.S. Special Forces Detachment A-222 worked alongside South Vietnamese Special Forces to train and lead local irregular fighters. From this remote camp, they disrupted enemy infiltration routes and gathered intelligence across the Central Highlands. But let's dive into another blink and you miss moment back at the Sawyer house. Look at this. The Sawyers have radios, police scanners, CB radios. They're monitoring law enforcement communications in real time. So I have to give them the credit for being a little bit more intelligent than what's shown at face value, because now I know what Tink meant.
Technology is our friend.
So now this is mighty interesting because they are fully aware of the mass scale that has been dug up. Literally.
I'd say we got 40 or 50 bodies here.
60 or 70 bodies, yes.
Considering the mass scale of this crime scene, I wouldn't be surprised if the feds came in. But the Sawyers definitely knew what was up. It was on the radio.
Have been discovered as soon as we get the details.
It's now news on a local TV.
Under conditions like these, they putrefy and...
But at least they had the sense to keep tabs and bury the body miles away from their home territory. They eventually start dumping them in the swamp for alligators to eat, which should have been plan A from the get-go. No bodies, no body pit, no news coverage. The gators don't leave evidence. But even that raises the bigger question to me. How long have the Sawyers been here? Because their setup is pretty solidified. You can tell this family's been on this property for many, many years. They had time to raise baby Sawyer. What's that, 8 years minimum? They killed 60 to 70 people and buried them. They rigged the entire house and the surrounding woods as one giant defensive measure for escaped victims. Tripwires, traps, the whole works. That's going to take some time to do. I also wonder if there's a paper trail with them now. Because just like Drayton before them, they can't help but leave footprints. Alfredo runs a gas station on the main road, a registered business, in plain sight. So at minimum, that's going to require some local city and county license for the sales of alcohol, cigarette permits, or even lottery license. Something. Alfredo even has a company truck proudly displaying the business. That's something to be proud of, I guess. But remember when Tex told Michelle that Alfredo's been a little bit cuckoo ever since he lost his job at the slaughterhouse? Now I know we talked about that earlier, but that must have taken some time to transition from being jobless to being a full-blown gas station owner at this last chance town. Now these might be small things, but this film has a habit of setting up these angles that never go anywhere. There's a story to tell here, and even going back to the Sawyer house, you can see now that they have power line power. Unlike the first film, where every single thing in the house was ran off generators. So I'm guessing Mama Sawyer has a power bill now. It's just small things like that leave a paper trail to who they are. So they're not completely ghosts in this universe. They've been around. But it all falls into the trap of most Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. There's a story to tell here, but it never goes anywhere. But that's going to wrap this video up, guys. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to kick it with me. You know I appreciate it. I guess I'm going to do part 4. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Funny story about The Next Generation. I'm pretty sure that's the first ever Texas Chainsaw Massacre film I've ever seen. Oh yeah, I was a young grasshopper watching Matthew McConaughey do his... Just imagine what kind of nightmares I had. I had this dream that the mailman knocked on the door with a package, and it's just Matthew McConaughey. If I had a dentist appointment I was dreading, Matthew McConaughey. If I had a dream about school, Matthew McConaughey. And then it switches from, wait a minute, is that the same guy from How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? What? Such is life. So I'll see you next week in part 4. I'm going to do part 4 and then probably transition to something else. I'll do the rest of the films, but I'll probably sprinkle them between, whatever franchise I do next.